Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry about the crazy hair I have. I swear my hair is like a chia pet. It grows exponentially. But anyways, I'll get that haircut tomorrow. Or whatever. So one of the next videos coming up will be different, I guess, in that way, visually. But aesthetically also, I am still here. Still here as in the living room with the cool oil painting there behind me. There also, for this NFL show, Talking Packers with Steve, a lot of crazy things have gone on the past week in the NFL. First off, in Packerland, here at the Green Bay Packers, our team, I was going to say we, but our team, the Green Bay Packers, have decided to let go of Mike McCarthy shortly thereafter the game last Sunday in our loss against the Arizona Cardinals, which I will be going over, of course. I always do the games the previous week, so going over week number 13. Excuse me. But after our loss to the dreadful Arizona Cardinals team, I guess, we lost. And we didn't lose like with a backup quarterback or something. Not like Rodgers got injured in the first play of the game and out and this and that and lost. No, Rodgers was there the whole game. So our excuses go down exponentially when Rodgers is still in there. And there's all talk about it being more so, I guess we're just talking about it now since I'm speaking on it and going into a ramble or a mini rant, whatever way it goes. We'll see how it drives the story or the conversation. But Aaron Rodgers needs to be should be held accountable, culpable. And it's almost like the LeBron James syndrome in the NBA, where anything that happens wrong with the Cavaliers or in the Heat in the past, and now the LA Lakers, and if it's anything negative that goes wrong on the team, it's his supporting cast. They don't put enough around him, and they're to blame. And he's so great, which he is. Aaron Rodgers, LeBron James are good at what they do. They won't be making the money that they do, and they wouldn't be scoring the points or stuff like that for their respective sports to earn that said money, to earn that adulation, to be one of the best. But to me, personally, even as a fan of LeBron James from afar, and a fan of Aaron Rodgers, specifically as a Green Bay Packer fan that I am for all my life, though I've kind of been a spoiled Packer fan because most of my life, pretty much all of my life, we've been good, whether it's Brett Favre era or now with the Aaron Rodgers era. But still, as a Packer fan and trying to see it as the sports broadcaster that I am and hope to be professionally, that he needs to take some accountability, and he is to blame in some of the reasons and in the ways and reasons why the Packers have not been the Packers of old, not let alone Packers that could be playoff contention. And even though we have these rookie wide receivers, our defensive corners weren't really the best. Still, Aaron needs to play up to his par. It's not really Mike McCarthy's fault that Aaron Rodgers overthrows a pass. It's not Mike McCarthy's fault specifically that Aaron Rodgers misses in short passes and simplistic, expensive schemes. It's not McCarthy's fault. And if you want to call game planning and McCarthy fault there, well, what I've been hearing from a little birdie and from my resources is that Aaron Rodgers has been changing the plays because he doesn't believe or didn't believe in Mike McCarthy anymore, and in his play calling, Aaron Rodgers being so great and said, "Hey, I'm just going to change the play." But whatever those plays were, or at that time, I guess he didn't have that much of a success rate. I mean, we pretty much, though we haven't, but we pretty much have been losing since our bye week. I think we won 1 or 2 games out of them, but still, pretty much losing in our bye week that we had many weeks ago, and our most recent one being to the Arizona Cardinals. It's a 3-7 Arizona Cardinals. I do have much respect to the Cardinal organization. I was cheering for the Cardinals when the Arizona Cardinals were in the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want Kurt Warner to get a second Super Bowl. Would have been one of the few NFL quarterbacks, let alone NFL players, that have won a Super Bowl with multiple teams. And Kurt Warner would have been one of them. But wasn't the case, and Pittsburgh won. And currently, from afar, being a fan of Arizona because of Larry Fitzgerald and what a great person he is and player he is, and a future Hall of Famer himself. But back to the Packers, back to them firing Mike McCarthy, having Joe Philbin being the interim head coach and him actually having a chance, at least that's what Packer ownership is saying, ownership team, that Philbin has a chance to, in a way, interview for the job by how he does as the interim head coach. Now, you never know. Aaron Rodgers could foil that plan of that by not even listening to his authority, which is technically his authority, the head coach, right? His day-to-day authority. Like if you're working at a place, your day-to-day authority being your supervisor. Then there's the positional supervisor, then the departmental manager, then store owner, and then regional owner, and then company owner, and other positions like that. District manager, regional managers. That's the, in regular work life. And I'm sure in the NFL, with that chain of command, and yes, I always go to my military roots of talking chain of command because that is still very true even in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback, or former defensive player Hal Clinton Dix on the Packers. You have your positions coach. You have position coach, defensive coach, and head coach. And that for Brett Favre in the past, for Aaron Rodgers now, you have a quarterback coach. Technically, there is a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, head coach. And you're basically thumping your nose at almost the number one of the team, or at least the number one of the on the field chain of command. Because above Mike McCarthy, of course, is the general manager and team president. But as for even on the field, that is your number one supervisor. First, you have a quarterback coach, then you have offensive coordinator, then you have head coach. So Aaron Rodgers doing what he's doing just because he's that great, just because whatever, doesn't mean he gets a pass. Because trust me, if Tom Brady tried that with Bill Belichick at any point, whether now or a couple years ago or whenever, people would be on his butt so fast make your head spin. And I mean not just the anti-Brady people, not just the Brady haters, but even Brady fanboys or Brady fans from afar would be saying that. Just because you're Tom Brady, you're not above you're not above the shield of the NFL. You're not above the franchise that you play for. Certainly. And even in regards, you're not above your head coach, which is your number one chain of command in regards to on-field day-to-day in your work life. So, Aaron Rodgers trying to be all egotistical in that way. Again, I've talked about how in a sense that Aaron Rodgers is lucky he's my quarterback for my team. Otherwise, he'd be one of those that I dislike because of his ego. But he is on our team, and sometimes he uses that for positive than for negative. And our team comes back for a win like we did again in week 1 against the Chicago Bears, or in other times with come from behind wins. That's why he's one of the best. So I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying at this point now in his career, and he should know Father Time is catching up with him, and he should be retiring in the next 2 to 3 years. He got one of the coach fired. So well, hopefully that can be changed in regards to that. Well, we'll see how Joe Philbin does. But I just want to talk about that. Should be all Mike McCarthy's fault and why the Packers are this bad. A little confidence on Aaron Rodgers, a little bit on the organization, even above Mike McCarthy, the general manager and team president. Not doing great with the draft and for agencies and not going after some players that maybe they could have been able to get. Thinking I'm thirsty. Anyways, I wanted to show my game of the week here, week 14, before I go over week 13. And as I do, my game of the week moving on here is the Los Angeles Rams up against the Chicago Bears. Battle for seeding in a sense in the NFC for playoff position. The Bears still having their backup quarterback, though Mr. Trubisky did say he's going to try to get out there and play with his guys, be a starter again. I think it would be best to still have him on the bench for now. what gives your team the best chance to win? I guess in the general sense, Mitch Trubisky, of course. But if you have a Mitch Trubisky at 40% or 60%, there's a chance for pick sixes, fumbles, and all the other stuff happening because of that. So, I know the battle for defensive player of the year with Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald being the battle there. And I understand the pundits and people I know was talked about today on ESPN First Take and other shows. Who's better and why do more people think it should be Aaron Donald winning that award than Khalil Mack? I think it's because the LA Rams, first LA period, being in LA, so the location of the Rams, but second, how the Rams are and perceived over the Chicago Bears. Yes, the Chicago Bears have a lineage of history just as much as the Rams had, going back to LA many, many years ago in the 80s, and then St. Louis Rams, and now LA Rams again. The Chicago Bears, their history might take William Bridge Perry and others, Jim McMahon and others, but Walter Payton, don't want to forget about him. But just the current Bears and their team isn't as, sexy team or whatever team that the LA Rams are. I mean, that's why Aaron Donald, unconsciously to most people, whether people in the sports broadcasting business or in journalism or in fandom and in general in the NFL, they go Aaron Donald over Khalil Mack because of how the Rams are and their team constructed and who the Rams quarterback is compared to the Chicago Bears. And I mean Chicago Bears with Mr. Trubisky or with their current quarterback right now. Either way, most people are going with Aaron Donald in that category. For me, though, I do agree. I side with Aaron Donald, but more so of the stats between Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack is why I'm going for Aaron Donald, not because of all the other extra things. At least not truly consciously why I go there. But that is my matchup of the week. The Rams versus the Bears with both great defensive ends. Maybe we won't have offense. Maybe this game will be the opposite of what the Rams-Chiefs game was, whereas a barn burner, a slobber knocker, as former WWE announcer Jim Ross, Jr., good old JR, would say back in the Attitude Era WWE. But it's going to be a good one. It might even be a slobber knocker in another sense of a 9-3 finish, not because the game is boring, but because both defenses, specifically Khalil Mack, the Chicago Bears, and Aaron Donald of the Los Angeles Rams, are doing their thing, along with their counterparts on their defenses. Okay, it's not a one-man band, but still, I will obviously predict that when we get to that. But let's go over Week 13 results and how everything went in week number 13. The Cowboys over the Saints in a surprising win on Thursday Night Football. 13-10, the Cowboys won 4 straight games for the first time since the grand year of 2016. The Buccaneers in somewhat of a surprise to the Panthers, who are trying to get a wild card playoff spot. And I'll talk about the playoff positioning near the end, of course, after I predict Week 14 and otherwise. Buccaneers over the Panthers, 24-17 there. Cam Newton, 4 interceptions, tied for a career high in that game. Next up, Chicago Bears and Giants. The Giants defeat Chicago in New York, 30-27. Odell Beckham Jr., 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, and 1 receiving as well. So at least that positivity for the Giants getting the win against a good Chicago Bears team. Dolphins over the Bills in Miami, 21-17. Ryan Tannehill, 3 touchdown passes, tied for a season high. This one, as for a game that low-level scoring, 6-0, 6-0, Jaguars over the Colts in Jacksonville. 6 combined points, tied for the fewest in a game, period, since 2007. We'll wait until we get a 3-0 game or a 2-0 game, because that would be the least you could get. Get 1 safety at some point in the game and no other points. A 2-0, 2 points combined. 2 combined points for a game. That will be the fewest. And it can only be matched. There is no 1-point thing. The only thing that's 1 point is the extra point, but you have to get a touchdown, which is 6 points. So you'd already pass it. So, that would be the facts, Jack. Moving right along, the Texans over the Browns in Houston, 29-13. In regards to the Houston Texans, 9-game winning streak, longest in franchise history. They certainly keep rolling on. And as I spoke of with the Green Bay Packers, the Arizona Cardinals come into Green Bay, win for the first time since 1927 against the Packers, period. 2017, Cardinals' first win at Lambeau Field, but not the first time that they came to face a Green Bay Packer team or from the organization, maybe back when they were playing at Milwaukee County Stadium facing the Green Bay Packers. But first win at Lambeau Field, and against Aaron Rodgers, and against still that quarterback, and maybe in his late prime, but still, it was a win for Arizona for sure. The Rams over the Lions on the road, 30-16 in Detroit. Rams have clinched the NFC West with the win, 30-16 over the Detroit Lions. The Broncos get a win over the Bengals as both teams are somewhat still in the playoff hunt, 24-10. Denver over Cincinnati. Running back Phillip Lindsay, 2 rushing touchdowns tied for a career high. Ravens over the Falcons, 26-16. Falcons officially eliminated from playoff contention, just like the Packers. Matt Ryan, 131 passing yards, fewest since 2011. The Titans over the Jets, 26-22. Titans wide receiver Tawan Taylor, career high for 104 receiving yards in a game. Jets are, unfortunately, the Jets this season. Titans still have a chance for a playoff position. Dominique we're still in the hunt. The Chiefs over the Raiders, 40-33 in a high-scoring game. Patrick Mahomes, 7th game with 4+ passing touchdowns this season. The Seahawks over the 49ers, 43-16. Russell Wilson, 4 touchdown passes, season high. Patriots over the Vikings, 24-10. New England, one of 2 teams with 6 wins and no losses at home of the Rams. Chargers over the Steelers, 33-30. Riley hit game-winning field goal, 29 yards. They had a couple of chances to do so, with Steelers being offsides, but either way, the Chargers come back and great fashion, beating Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. So good job, LA Chargers. Eagles beat Washington, 28-13 on Monday Night Football. Zach Ertz, most single receiver reception yards in Eagles history. So crazy and interesting week of action there for week 13 in regards to the NFL. It certainly will be. Look forward to seeing how week 14 goes. Hold on, I'm call here. Sorry about that. Obviously, you guys don't want to hear me on the phone. Anyways, let's move on to week 14 action and my predictions. Like I said, game of the week, Rams, Bears in Chicago, in their own windy city, in their own frozen tundra. Certainly a good game, for sure. As this loads. All right, let's head for week number 14 in these games. Like I said, after week 14, after I do my predictions here, I'll go into the playoff scenarios, who's in, who's out, the teams officially eliminated from playoff contention in the NFC and the AFC. I'm sure most of you already know, especially if it's your own team, like mine here in Green Bay, if your team is in and out, but I just want to share it for the masses, for YouTube Nation, as I call you all, back here, talking here, NFL, football with your boy, Steve. Stevie Gay from Wisconsin. All right, starting off this Thursday night. Tonight, of course, it is Thursday, December 6th of the very year 2018. Thursday Night Football on Fox and also on Amazon Prime and on NFL Network. The Jacksonville Jaguars, the 4-8 Jacksonville Jaguars, up against the 6-6 Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. Titans 10-3 at home since 2017, 6th best in the NFL. I'm gonna go I'm going to go Jaguars over the Titans, 16-13. Getting the win there. Sorry about that. But yeah, 16-13. I'm going with the Titans over the Jaguars. Now for Sunday games, the 4-8 Giants against the 6-6 Washington team. Again, I'll go into the playoff situation, but if Washington and Philadelphia win this week, there will be a three-way tie for the division there in the NFC East. And the Eagles will be number one because they would have just beaten the Giants or just beaten the Cowboys this week here in week 14, and last week beat Washington. So in Philadelphia. So beating their other divisional rivals, they would be the number one seed in the division. And they would probably then go Dallas and then Washington, but at least Washington would still be in the mix. So in that way of thinking, I'm going to go with Washington and predict that to get the win 17-3, Washington over the Giants there. I just think even with Washington having their backup quarterback, Colt McCoy being in there, Alex Smith suffering that gruesome injury a couple weeks ago and unable to continue for the Washington team. I do see them still being in the hunt, still being a viable contention to win the NFC East. And again, like I said, when I'm done with the Week 14 predictions, I will get into the playoff picture and let you know about your team that you root for there. Moving on, the 10-2 Saints against the 5-7 Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. Saints are the number one scoring defense since Week 10 at 12.8 points per game allowed. And yet last week, at home, or was it on the road? Either way, against Dallas, they were pretty much against the Dallas Cowboys. So how are they going to do against Tampa Bay? Quote-unquote inferior team. Then again, I thought the same thing for the Packers against the Arizona Cardinals. But here, I will go with the Saints over the Buccaneers. It will be a closer game than most think, not just because of the rivalry in regards to their division, but also in the case of the Saints and how they played last week, maybe implementing of how they play this week in Tampa Bay. Somewhat of a hostile environment. Again, a divisional game. They better get up and get ready for. I'm sure they are. Especially since they're a game back now of the LA Rams for the number one spot. And as NFL fans know, no matter what team you're cheering for, that number one spot on the AFC side or NFC side is valuable. You know, it's like the golden ticket in Willy Wonka. Everybody wants it because you know that the playoffs then will have to go through your town, will have to go through your city, and have to go through your stadium and through you to get you the Super Bowl. And who won't want that, right? Whether it's the LA Rams, Saints on the NFC side or the Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs on the AFC side. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see how that all moves forward as we go on here into the Week 14 slate of action. Moving right along here, another noon game, noon central kickoff game. Patriots against Dolphins. We have the 9-3 Patriots against the 6-6 Dolphins. Dolphins still in contention for the playoffs. I'm going with New England over Miami, though, in another close game, though, 24-13. I guess you know that might not sound close, but still a close game. Not Green Bay, but New England, apart from Miami, they're later in the game. So New England continuing being on a roll. Tom Brady is 7-9 in career against the Dolphins on the road. I think that will improve to 8-9. But still, the Dolphins will give them headaches. It will be closer than people think, right? People will be watching this game and be like, why are the Dolphins still in it? The Dolphins aren't terrible. They do actually have a pretty good defense, and especially some good cornerbacks on their roster as well. So I don't sleep too much on the Dolphins, but I do predict New England to get the win in the end because the biggest factor being Gronk. Pun not intended. Ravens Chiefs, the 7-5 Ravens and the 10-2 Chiefs. As of right now, the Baltimore Ravens are on that sixth spot, right on the edge, as you can call it there, edge of the abyss of the playoffs. That sixth and final wild card spot, or the sixth spot and the second wild card spot, below where the Dolphins, Browns, and other teams are trying to vie for to get into the playoffs. Of course, they're still in the hunt, but I'm going with the Chiefs to get the win over Baltimore at home. Chiefs are the number one scoring offense versus the Ravens. Number one defense. So it's going to be a good matchup, but I'm going with the Chiefs. Mahomes for the win here. Chiefs over the Ravens. Chiefs over Ravens 23-16 there. Moving right along to the Houston Texans, we have the 6-6 Indianapolis Colts up against the 9-3 Houston Texans. You know what this reminds me of, especially this game, the Colts being another team on the precipice, right there on the edge, only trying to get above and over that edge to break the walls down there to get into the playoffs. But the Houston Texans team, who's on this big roll, Texans holding opponents under 25 points in 8 straight games during their winning streak. It reminds me of me trying to have like a video chats or calls on Snapchat, where they're few and far between. But when I'm able to, whether it's with friends or even, I still haven't been able to do the whole calling feature on there. I'm sure it's a fun, great thing. But video messaging with some family members and friends and some people that I used to be in the military with us have been able to. But there's this one person that I hope to in the future. Anyways, where, you think something and it's going to work there, and then maybe not so much. In regards to, you think it's going to be as great, like the whole calling feature thing on there on Snapchat. Haven't used it yet, but when I finally able to, whoever it's with, I'm sure it's going to be awesome and fun, but it's going to be of, well, has this actually meant something, right? So this in regards to the Colts. There are teams that, with Andrew Luck coming back from some injury last season, being out for that season, the Colts not having that grand of a year, and now this season in the Colts getting to improve to a point that they're having a chance to go to the playoffs, right? They're one of the teams that are not only in the hunt, but have a strong case to make the playoffs, especially if things go the way I'm predicting and the Ravens lose to the Chiefs here in Week 14. Again, we'll have to see. You never know. That's why the games are played. Games are played. Last week, Arizona, Green Bay. Thought Green Bay was going to roll over Arizona, make a big statement, still be in the playoff hunt for the Packers and the mighty Aaron Rodgers. And yet my team, that team, lost to Arizona because our kicker missed his kick. Right? So it happens. It is what it is. Anyways, I'm going with the Texans over the Colts after that long-winded rambling. I'm going with the Texans over the Colts here, 23-13. Here, next up with the Packers. My Packers up against the Falcons at home. The 4-8 Falcons against the 4-7-1 Packers. Packers have lost 5 of 6 games. That's why we're not in playoff contention anymore. Neither is Atlanta themselves. But we're just battling for seeding in the 2019 NFL Draft. That's what we're battling here between Atlanta and Green Bay, because we're both out of the playoff contention. But as you heard from the records, Atlanta 4-8, Packers 4-7-1. We're close there record-wise, trying to see if we secure a better spot there in the NFL Draft coming in April 2019. Don't worry, April is the best month in the year. It's my birthday month, WWE WrestleMania that I hope to attend this year, and the NFL Draft that I hope to attend one of these years. So, there you go. Anyways, moving right along, the 6-6 Panthers against the 4-7-1 Browns. Carolina lost 4 straight games, tied to the longest active streak in the franchise history. I'm going with the Panthers to win over Cleveland 20-16 there. The 3-9 Jets against the 4-8 Bills. I got the Bills over the Jets 9-3. Jets 6-game losing streak after 3-3 start. We have the 6-6 Broncos against the 2-10 49ers. Broncos won 3 straight games with the losing 6 of previous 7. And someone in the hunt for the playoffs. I'm going to go with Denver over San Francisco in a close game, 16-10 there. The Bengals 5-7. LA Chargers 9-3. Bengals 4-game losing streak is their longest since 2012. And it continues with LA Chargers getting the win over the Bengals 20-17. The 7-4-1 Steelers against the 2-10 Raiders. Steelers lost 2 games straight after starting the season, 7-2-1. I think the Snaps, the win here against Oakland, 32-23 there. In that matchup, the 6-6 Eagles against the 7-5 Cowboys. I got the Eagles over the Cowboys. Getting the win there, making that 3-way tie. NFC East. Eagles over the Cowboys, 24-21. 4-8 Lions against the 3-9 Cardinals. Arizona just beat us, another NFC team. I'm gonna go with the Lions on getting the win on the road, 16-10 in that matchup. And then the game of the week, the Rams versus the Bears. Here's my matchup: the LA Rams versus the Chicago Bears. I'm going to go with the Rams getting the win on the road because of Aaron Donald, because of who Chicago has as a quarterback. Sorry, it's not going to be enough, especially when you're facing a team like the Rams. That's why I don't think Chicago is really going to do much in the playoffs, but I'm going with the LA Rams over the Chicago Bears. 42-23 win, actually, high scoring. Vikings, Seahawks, Monday Night Football on ESPN. 6-5-1. Rams can clinch a first-round bye with a win, by the way, over Chicago. I think they will. Kirk Cousins 0-6 career on Monday Night Football. 6-5-1 Vikings, 7-5 Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Vikings over the Seahawks in a crazy fashion. 23-20 win there, but definitely going to be an interesting week. An interesting week of games for sure in the NFL, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how everything happens. I guess, so to speak. All right, we're just checking something. Anyways, yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see how everything goes moving forward. And the playoff picture, here, give me a moment to just try to load it up, but I'm going to share exactly how this playoff picture looks. And it's certainly going to be interesting in regards more so to the NFC and the AFC. Like, it looks like on the NFC side, more of a battle of things to come. Who's going to get where, who's going to get what positioning there specifically. It certainly would be fun in that regard. All right, here's the standings. And for the AOC side, we have for number one position right now, who would be the number one seed would be the Chiefs at 10-2. Number two seed would be the New England Patriots at 9-3. Number three seed would be the Houston Texans 9-3. So there is still a battle there. If Houston wins and New England loses this week, or anything happens there, Houston could get the number two spot and get a bye week. It's not as much as I talk about the golden ticket for getting the number one overall seed in your conferences for the playoff seedings, but getting a bye week period for the conference seedings in the playoffs. There's own different golden ticket, maybe the silver ticket, because it's a little bit different. Anyway, number four would be the Steelers at 7-4-1. The fifth seed and the first wildcard team would be the LA Chargers at 9-3. And then the 7-5 Ravens. Teams still in the hunt, or just teams below here in the hunt. Miami Dolphins at 6-6. We got the Indianapolis Colts at 6-6. Denver at 6-6, and Houston and Tennessee Titans at 6-6. You have four teams at the 500 mark there. That record of 6-6. It's certainly going to be interesting to see if any of those teams be able to break away from that and catch up with the Ravens, the Chargers, to be able to get that final spot. Because just think, if we got the Dolphins, the Colts, the Broncos, and the Titans win. The Ravens lose to the Chiefs this week. Chargers win and continue there. So the Chargers are still one game back of the Chiefs, but still winning there. We have then the Dolphins, Colts, and Broncos and Titans at 7-6. The Ravens at 7-6. So we'd have five teams at 7-6, and seeing which one would get that final spot. Still with games to come, so it's not the end of the season, but still would be interesting to see how that all goes down. And then as for the teams that are eliminated already mathematically, and hey, I'm good at math, so I know things. Then again, people can also look things up, right? Google, the internet is always your best friend when you need to look up things, like I sometimes do. Anyways, Bengals 5-7, Cleveland Browns 4-7-1, Buffalo Bills 4-8, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 4-8, the New York Jets 3-9, and last but not least, the Oakland Raiders at 2-10 in all teams. Mathematically now officially eliminated from the playoff contention, no longer in the hunt for a playoff spot. Let's move over to the awesome NFC side, right? The Packers were on the NFC side, so naturally, to me, I guess, the NFC is grand. Number one seed right now would be the LA Rams at 11-1. Number two would be the New Orleans Saints at 10-2. Third spot would be the Chicago Bears, at 8-4. Fourth right now is the Dallas Cowboys at 7-5. The fifth spot and the first wild card spot is the Seattle Seahawks at 7-5, and the number 6 spot right now, and the second wildcard spot right now, if the season ended right now, heading into the playoffs, the Vikings would make it. The Minnesota Vikings at 6-5-1. The team's still having a chance. Excuse me, and there's only 3 of them. The Carolina Panthers at 6-6, the Philadelphia Eagles, the same record, and Washington at the same record. And there, so all those teams, just like in the AFC side, with that 500 record, trying to get ahead of another team. The difference is in the AFC side, as I was rambling and explaining about, is if those 4 teams in the AFC side win and Baltimore lose, they'll all be tied at 7-6. And where would everything be, mathematically and in tiebreakers of who would then be in that 4th spot? Thank goodness, at least with the NFL, the season does not end after week 14. We still have a couple weeks left till we get to the actual end of week 17. But that's the conundrum on the AFC side. Now, on the NFC side, the Vikings are 6-5-1. Remember, they tied with the Packers earlier this season, of course, with my team. So, with that, them not in that way, if the Vikings lose and Carolina, Philly, or Washington win, either of them, that means one of those teams, or chance for both of those teams, in a sense, to be able to go there. Because if we have the Vikings lose and the Seahawks lose, then Carolina, Philadelphia, and Washington can hop over Minnesota and get that 6th spot and the final spot in the playoffs, seeding for the NFC side. And then there's a chance for the other team, one of the other teams, if they do win, to go over to Seattle with a tied record and maybe a better divisional record win in their own right there, whatever tiebreaker works there. So that could be very interesting. And that's why I love about the NFL and sports in general, the playoff seedings. How can it go each and every week after the games are played? The playoffs are mixed up differently. Different teams are in there because of that. And then you finally have to just crawl and make it to week 17. And when the season is over and all the dust is settled, then we'll officially see what teams make it. But I just wanted to share that in regards to the playoff picture for those that care. I didn't know. So, anyways, I thank you all for stopping by or being here for however long you did. You're welcome to like the video, share the video, let people know about the channel, subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciated if you do that. Ring the bell if you do subscribe. Welcome to know when I do videos. I'll be doing another video, later tonight, whenever, at some point. Steve's Wrestling Ramble. So I'll be doing my wrestling podcast at that point with my guys, hopefully, and we'll go from there. Sorry, I was just replying to someone. Well, anyways, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, evening as well. And I look forward to talking to people that I know, or hopefully that I know have actually watched here today on other platforms, and I will put you all in the future. It's going to be a great another weekend of NFL action. That's certainly going to be the case. So enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun. And above all else, as always, take care.